Sit down to answer a question. You know the answer. You knew it 20 seconds ago. Your mouth opens, and nothing comes out. Somebody asks you what you do. 3 sentences appear in your head. You discard all 3. You panic. You say the worst one. You step into a room you have walked into 1,000 times. Your wife is upset. You know what she needs to hear. The words are inside you. They will not come out. This is not nervousness. This is not lack of preparation. This is something older. The samurai had a name for it, and they considered it the single most dangerous thing that can happen to a fighter. The mind stopped. They also had a fix. A teaching so closely guarded that the Zen master who first wrote it down sent the writings only to one swordsman in the entire country and asked that they be kept private. The letters circulated for 3 generations before they were ever published. The name of the teaching is Mushin. In Japanese, 2 characters. The first one, mu, means nothing, or no, or without. The second one, shin, means heart, or mind, or the center of feeling. Together, no mind. This translation has confused people for 400 years. Mushin does not mean empty mind. Mushin does not mean blank mind. Mushin does not mean the mind has stopped thinking. Mushin means the mind that does not interfere. The Zen master Takuan Sōhō wrote a letter about this in the year 1632 to a swordsman named Yagyū Munenori. Yagyū was the sword instructor to the Shōgun. He was the most respected swordsman in Japan. He had a problem. When he fought an opponent of lesser skill, he won easily. When he fought an opponent of equal skill, his mind would stop on something. The opponent's eyes, the opponent's blade, his own breath. And in that fraction of a stop, he would lose. Takuan wrote him this: "Imagine the moon reflected on the surface of a still pond. The moon does not try to be in the pond. The pond does not try to catch the moon. Yet the reflection is perfect. If the moon tried to enter the pond, it would only make a hole in the water. If the pond tried to hold the moon, it would only make a wave that ruined the image. The mind that does not try is the mind that sees everything. The mind that tries is the mind that sees nothing but its own trying." If you are new here, welcome to Katana Mind. This is a channel for men who want to think clearly, act with discipline, and live with intent. Subscribe before we go deeper, because what comes next is the part the modern world is not built to teach you. Now, why was this teaching hidden? Takuan Sōhō was not an ordinary monk. He was the abbot of Daitokuji, the largest Rinzai Zen temple in Kyoto. He was also a tea master, a calligrapher, a poet, and a personal advisor to the Tokugawa Shōgun. When he wrote the letter to Yagyū, he was 60 years old, and he understood exactly what he was giving away. The teaching could not be misused. That was the point. A man who tried to use Mushin as a technique to win fights would never reach it. A man who studied Mushin to impress his teacher would never reach it. The teaching only worked for the man who had already given up trying to win. This made it dangerous in a different way. It could not be taught publicly. Most students who heard the words would understand them backwards. They would think Mushin was a state to achieve. They would try harder, and they would fail. So the letters stayed inside a small circle. Yagyū read them. He passed them to his son, who passed them to his son. A few inner disciples saw them. Most of the world did not. 3 generations later, they were finally compiled into a book. The book is now called The Unfettered Mind. You can buy it in English. You can read it in an afternoon. And you will probably understand it backwards, the same way the first students did, unless you also know the story I am about to tell you. Around the year 1640, in a small dojo on the outskirts of Edo, there was a young swordsman named Takeshi. Takeshi had been training since he was 8. By 22, he was the best student in his school. He had a fast cut, a clean stance, and a mind that read other fighters 2 moves ahead. His master expected him to inherit the school one day. There was one problem. Whenever Takeshi sparred with anyone close to his own level, he froze. Not for long. Half a breath, A quarter breath. Long enough to be hit. He had been hit on the shoulder. He had been hit on the wrist. He had been hit on the ribs. Each time, in the moment before the hit, his mind had gone somewhere else. To the last cut. To the next cut. To the thought of being seen freezing again. His master watched this for a year and finally spoke. "You are not a fighter," the master said. "You are a man trying to fight. The two are different." Takeshi did not understand. The master sent him away. "You will go north," the master said. "There is a monk on a mountain near Kamakura. His name is Kenji. He does not teach swords. He will not even let you carry yours into his hut. You will stay with him until he tells you to leave. Then you will come back, and we will see if you are a fighter." Takeshi went. He found Kenji's hut at the end of a long footpath above a river. The monk was small, old, and entirely uninterested in samurai. For the first month, Kenji gave Takeshi one task. Sit by the river every morning and watch the water. Do not name what you see. Do not count anything. Do not plan your day. If a fish appears, do not think the word fish. Just see. Takeshi failed. He named everything. He counted leaves. He thought about his master, his school, his mother. After 30 days, he was so frustrated he asked Kenji if there was something else he could do. Kenji said yes. There is one more thing. The monk handed Takeshi an iron bowl filled to the brim with water. He told him to carry it across the courtyard. If he spilled any, he would start over the next day. Takeshi carried the bowl. He spilled it on the second step. The next morning, again, the bowl, the water. He spilled it. For 2 months, he tried to cross the courtyard. He concentrated. He held his breath. He took small steps. He held the bowl close to his chest. He held it far from his body. He focused his eyes on the bowl. He focused his eyes on the far wall. The water always found a way out. On the 61st morning, something different happened. He had been thinking about his master that morning, about his mother, about a girl in his village. He picked up the bowl without thinking, started walking, and his mind was already somewhere else. He reached the far wall before he realized he was walking. The bowl was full. Kenji came out of the hut, looked at the bowl, and laughed. "That is Mushin," he said. Takeshi did not believe him. He tried to do it again on purpose. He spilled the water immediately. The mind that tried to repeat Mushin could not. The mind that had forgotten about Mushin had done it perfectly. He stayed with Kenji for another year. He learned to carry the bowl most mornings. He learned to sit by the river and not name. He learned that the moment he wanted to do something well, he could not. And the moment he stopped wanting, he could. When he returned to his master, the master tested him with a sparring match. Takeshi did not win. He simply did not freeze. His master saw it and smiled. "Now you are a fighter," the master said. This is the teaching that Takeshi carried for the rest of his life. There were 3 pieces to it, and Yagyū Munenori wrote them down in almost the same form in his own book a few years later. 3 principles that come straight out of Mushin. The first, the mind that watches itself fight cannot fight. The moment you observe yourself acting, you have stopped acting and started narrating. Narration is slower than action by an entire breath. In a sword fight, that breath is your death. The second, the mind that decides what to do has already missed the moment to do it. By the time you have chosen, the moment has moved on. The trained body does not need the mind to choose. It needs the mind to get out of the way. The third, the mind that wants to reach Mushin cannot reach Mushin. Mushin is what is left when wanting stops. It is not added to you, it is uncovered in you. This is exactly the same teaching Takuan wrote to Yagyū in 1632, the mind like the moon on water. The mind that does not try to enter. The mind that does not try to hold. So far, this is a story about swords. You probably do not carry a sword. Let me tell you why this still matters. Every modern situation that requires you to act, and you freeze instead, is your mind stopping. The mechanism is exactly the same as Takeshi's. Your mind sees the moment, names it, judges it, plans how to handle it, watches itself plan, and by the time it is ready, the moment is gone. The interview where the right answer was sitting in your throat and would not come out, the mind stopped. The conversation where the person you love said something difficult, and you sat there with your mouth slightly open and produced nothing, the mind stopped. The email you have rewritten 30 times, the mind stopped on the first draft and never moved again. The performance, the speech, the moment of standing up at a meeting, the mind stopped on the watching. In every one of these moments, you knew what to do. The information was in you. The skill was in you. The body was ready. Your mind interfered with itself, the same way Takeshi's mind interfered with carrying the bowl. The fix is not more thinking. The fix is not more confidence. The fix is not more practice in front of the mirror. The fix is Mushin. Here is the practice. 3 places in your week where the mind collapses, and 3 small trainings to undo the collapse. Each one takes less than a minute. None of them require a temple, a monk, or a sword. The first place is the start of any difficult action, the hard email, the cold call, the conversation you have been avoiding. Most people stand on the edge of these actions for hours. The mind names the difficulty. The mind plans the words. The mind imagines the response. The mind imagines the response to the response. The practice set a small 30-second timer. When it ends, you act. Not when you feel ready. Not when the words are perfect. When the timer ends. The 30 seconds are not for preparing. They are for letting the mind exhaust its attempt to prepare. After 30 seconds, the mind has nothing left, and the body can move. The second place is the middle of any conversation that suddenly turns serious. Your partner, your child, a friend who has stopped pretending. Most people, in that moment, leave their body. The mind starts watching the conversation from the outside. What should I say next? Did that sound right? Are they hurt? The watching is the freeze. The practice, notice the watching, then put your attention on one physical sensation, your feet on the floor, your back against the chair. The temperature of the air on your hands. One small anchor. The mind cannot watch and notice the body at the same time. The watching dissolves. The words come back. The third place is the end of any complete action that you cannot put down. The big meeting that is over, but your mind is still in it. The argument that finished an hour ago, but you are still rehearsing what you wished you had said. The work day that ended at 6, but your mind is still at the desk at 10 at night. The practice. 3 slow breaths through the nose with your eyes closed while you say to yourself, the moment is finished. Not in words spoken aloud, in the silent way. The 3 breaths are not a calming exercise. They are a closing of the file. Mushin is not just the mind that does not stop entering. It is also the mind that does not refuse to leave. If you do these 3 things for 1 week, you will feel a change, not in your achievements, not in your output, in the quality of the space between your thoughts. The freeze will happen less. The room you live in will feel slightly larger. The conversations you have will end cleanly. The actions you take will begin before you have rehearsed them into uselessness. This is what Takuan wrote about. This is what Yagyū trained. This is what Takeshi carried down from the mountain in a year that we do not remember exactly, somewhere in the time of the 3rd Tokugawa Shōgun, 400 years before you sat down to watch this video. The teaching has not aged. The threats are different. The freeze is the same. The fix is the same. Mushin is not a destination. It is not a state you reach. It is the natural condition of a mind that has been allowed to stop trying. The samurai trained for it because in their world, the cost of the freeze was their life. The cost of yours is everything you do not say, everything you do not do, every moment you watch yourself instead of living in it. You do not need a sword. You do not need a monk. You do not need a mountain. You only need to be willing to carry the bowl across the courtyard without thinking about the water. Sit still. Cut clean. Walk on.